The Addams Family.
They played the family that celebrated death. Death was the joke. Then death stopped joking. The butler's ashes lie in an unmarked spot in a California backyard. No stone, no name, just soil. The uncle was Hollywood's very first child star. He made an estimated $4 million before he turned 21. His mother spent nearly every dime. The mother filmed her final role from a wheelchair, dying, and never told the audience. The daughter passed away 2 months after the whole world started copying her dance. And the father? He buried every single one of them. He's 96. He's still here. This is what really happened to the Addams family. Stay with me. Lisa Loring is Wednesday Addams. Lisa Loring was born on February 16, 1958, on Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands. Both her parents served in the Navy. They divorced right after her birth. She grew up in Hawaii, then Los Angeles, modeling by age 3. At 6, she reportedly beat out around 75 girls for the role of Wednesday. And here's the astonishing part. She couldn't read yet. Every deadpan line you remember, she memorized it by ear. The braids, the headless dolls, the pet spider, and that solemn little shuffle she danced with Lurch. Remember the dance. It comes back at the end.
This is my lucky day. You got it, Lurch.
The show ended when she was 8, and the real Wednesday's childhood turned darker than the character quotes Dot. Her mother died of alcoholism in 1974 at just 34. Lisa was a teenager. She married young, worked as a makeup artist, and later joined the soap As the World Turns. A 1995 People profile put it in one line. The Addams child named for woe had known plenty of it. Then, in November of 2022, something beautiful happened. Jenna Ortega went on The Tonight Show and said it plainly. She'd paid homage to Lisa Loring. The viral Wednesday dance the whole planet was copying, it carried Lisa's original 1964 shuffle inside it. 2 months later, on January 28, 2023, Lisa Loring died of a stroke. She was 64. Her ashes rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. The first Wednesday lived just long enough to watch the whole world dance like her again. Her dance came back from the dead. She got to see it. Her TV brother's story is quieter, but it might sting more.
Oh no, please. I'll talk. My name is Wednesday Addams.
Ken Weatherwax is Pugsley Addams. Ken Weatherwax was born on September 29, 1955, in Los Angeles, into television royalty. His aunt was musical star Ruby Keeler. His uncles owned and trained Lassie. Pugsley's real family created America's most famous dog. He was cast at around 8, fresh off a toothpaste commercial. For 64 episodes, he grinned through the dynamite and the pet octopus. Then the show ended, and Hollywood shut the door. He tried out for other roles. Nothing landed. He said it himself. He'd become a victim of typecasting. To casting directors, he would always be Pugsley. So at 17, Ken Weatherwax joined the U.S. Army. He came back once, as a grown-up Pugsley in the 1977 reunion. After that, he stayed in Hollywood, but behind the camera. He spent decades as a studio grip and set builder. The boy from TV's Strangest House built the sets other actors got famous on. He stayed lifelong friends with Lisa Loring, signing autographs beside her at fan conventions. He died of a heart attack on December 7, 2014. He was 59. He had no permanent resting place until fans raised the money. In 2017, they buried Pugsley themselves. The boy Hollywood wouldn't cast, the fans buried him like family. The family's strangest cousin never even showed his face.
My room. You can hide there and just pretend you've run away from home.
Felix Silla is Cousin It. Felix Silla was born on January 11, 1937, in a small village in Abruzzo, Italy. He stood 3 feet 11. He trained in the circus. At 18, he came to America and toured with Ringling Brothers as a trapeze artist. Hollywood hired him as a stuntman. Then came the strangest star turn in sitcom history. Cousin It, the walking pile of hair in a bowler hat. Silla didn't even have to audition. He gave a hairpiece a personality using nothing but body language. 17 episodes. And the character wasn't even in the original cartoons. Television invented it. You've seen Felix Silla dozens of times since. You just never knew it. He was Tweaky the Robot on Buck Rogers, an Ewok in Return of the Jedi, Short Round stunt double in Temple of Doom. He died in April of 2021 at 84. He spent a lifetime entertaining people. Most of them never knew his name, a face nobody ever saw, a talent everybody felt. Quick pause. If these stories are landing, tap subscribe. It genuinely helps us keep digging up the truth behind the classics.
You're right.
Blossom Rock is Grandmama Blossom Rock was born on August 21st, 1895 in Philadelphia. Yes, 1895. You read that right. She was nearly 2 decades older than anyone else in that house, and she carried a secret in plain sight. Her little sister was Jeanette MacDonald, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet. Blossom worked for 30 years under a different name, Marie Blake, playing secretaries and switchboard operators. She could have used her sister's name. She chose not to. Stardom finally found her at 69. The fright wig took an hour every morning. She joked that Grandmama was simply herself, emphasized. Then, barely a year and a half after cancellation, a stroke took most of her speech. When the 1977 reunion filmed, she couldn't join. Another actress wore her wig. Blossom reportedly watched the movie from her room at the Motion Picture Country House. The grandmother of TV's Strangest Family, watching someone else play her. She died there on January 14, 1978, at 82, the first of the family to go. The tallest went next, and his story is the strangest of them all.
I haven't used this beauty since the tax man was here.
Ted Cassidy is Lurch. Ted Cassidy was born on July 31, 1932 in Pittsburgh and raised in a small West Virginia town. By age 11, he was 6 feet tall, taller than both his parents. He later admitted he was ashamed of it. He called his childhood miserable. He grew to 6'9". So he went into radio in Dallas because on radio, nobody sees you. Now here's the fact almost nobody knows. On November 22, 1963, Ted Cassidy was on the air at WFAA radio in Dallas. President Kennedy had just been shot. Cassidy was live. He became one of the very first broadcasters to interview eyewitnesses to the assassination. He told the world what had happened in Dealey Plaza. Less than a year later, he was Lurch. Life has a dark sense of humor, and Lurch wasn't supposed to talk. The character was written mute, like the cartoons. Then, in the pilot, the gong sounded. Cassidy walked in and improvised 2 words. "You rang?" The producers rewrote the character on the spot. He also played Thing, the disembodied hand in the box, and his hand had its own separate contract. In 1965, the Lurch became a real dance craze. He performed it on national TV alongside Boris Karloff. But the height that made him famous also caged him. He was Bigfoot on The $6 Million Man, an android on Star Trek, monster after monster. He openly resented it. He felt he had far more to offer. His revenge was his voice. He narrated The Incredible Hulk. He was the Hulk's actual roar. In January of 1979, Cassidy underwent open-heart surgery to remove a tumor. Complications followed. He slipped into a coma. His children called one man, John Astin, hoping his voice might wake their father. Astin came. He sat with him. He talked to him. The next day, January 16th, Ted Cassidy died. He was 46. His ashes were buried in the backyard of his own home. No marker. The exact spot is now unknown. Somewhere in a California garden lies Lurch. John Astin was there at the end. Remember that. He was always there. And the woman of the house faced her own ending with the same kind of nerve.
Follow me.
Carolyn Jones is Morticia Addams. Carolyn Jones was born on April 28, 1930, in Amarillo, Texas. Her father, a barber, abandoned the family when she was 4. Severe asthma kept her indoors, out of school, dreaming through radio shows and fan magazines. She clawed her way to Hollywood anyway. And here's what you probably don't know. Before Morticia, Carolyn Jones was a movie star. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, King Creole with Elvis, and in 1958, an Academy Award nomination for roughly 6 minutes of screen time in The Bachelor Party. Her private life shaped television too. In the early 50s, she fell for a broke young writer named Aaron Spelling. He couldn't afford to propose, so she proposed to him. She believed in him before anyone else did. The marriage lasted about a decade, and it launched the man who'd produced Charlie's Angels, Dynasty, Beverly Hills 90210, half of television. She saw it first. They divorced as friends, and years later, she was still guest starring on his shows. Then came The Black Dress. Cartoonist Charles Addams reportedly wanted her personally for Morticia, and she and John Astin made a radical choice for 1964. They played Gomez and Morticia as a couple, genuinely, passionately in love. Married people on TV barely touched back then. The Addamses smoldered. Every kiss up the arm broke a rule. When the show was canceled, producers gave her Morticia's wicker chair. She reportedly kept it in her bedroom until the day she died. In 1981, she was diagnosed with colon cancer. She took a lead soap roll anyway, a scheming matriarch on Capitol. When the cancer came back terminal, she kept shooting. Some scenes she played from a wheelchair, in real pain. A co-star called her absolutely indomitable. Knowing time was short, she married her partner of 5 years. Carolyn Jones died at home on August 3, 1983, at 53. She'd already told her sister the epitaph she wanted. She gave joy to the world. And the family's bald, cackling uncle? His real life was bigger than the entire show.
Now, Cleopatra, chew your burger. Don't gulp.
Jackie Coogan is Uncle Fester. Jackie Coogan was born on October 26, 1914, in Los Angeles, into a vaudeville family. He was performing before he could properly walk. One night, Charlie Chaplin saw a little boy dancing on a Los Angeles stage. He cast him as the abandoned child in The Kid. It was 1921. Jackie Coogan became the first child star in Hollywood history. Dolls, records, peanut butter with his face on it. In one 20s popularity poll, he beat Rudolph Valentino. By 21, he'd earned an estimated $3 to $4 million, a staggering fortune. Then came May 4th, 1935. Driving home from a hunting trip in Mexico, the car went off a mountain road. His father died. His best friend died. Every single person in that car died, except Jackie. He was 20. He was the only one who walked away. 6 months later, he turned 21 and asked for his money. It was gone. His mother and his stepfather, the family's own financial advisor, had spent nearly every dime. Furs, jewelry, cars. In court, his mother's defense was brutal. She said her son had been a bad boy. The most beloved child America had ever known, hearing his own mother call him a bad boy. After legal fees, he recovered about $126,000 of millions. Charlie Chaplin heard he was broke and handed him $1,000, no questions asked. And the outrage changed everything. In 1939, California passed the Child Actors Bill. It's still the law today. It's called the Coogan Law. You've heard that name on every film set since. Every child actor since is protected by Uncle Fester's name. Ron Howard, Jenna Ortega, every single one. His family stole his fortune. His name still protects every child who earns one. Then he went to war. Coogan enlisted before Pearl Harbor. He became a glider pilot and volunteered for hazardous duty. On the night of March 5, 1944, he flew British commandos into Burma in an engineless glider. He landed them roughly 100 miles behind Japanese lines. Uncle Fester was a combat war hero. 2 decades of bit parts followed. Then, in 1964, nearly broke at 49, he tested for Uncle Fester, and he was rejected. So he went home, shaved his own head, built his own Fester makeup, and came back. He won the part. Fame found him a second time, half a century after the first. And in 1972, Charlie Chaplin came back to America after 20 years of exile. The cameras were rolling. Chaplin moved down the reception line with quick, polite handshakes. Then he saw Jackie Coogan. He walked straight to him, embraced him, and said, "I would rather see you than anybody else." The first child star, the survivor, the war hero. And his proudest moment wasn't the money or the fame. It was Charlie Chaplin choosing him, 50 years later. He died of heart failure on March 1st, 1984, at 69, 7 months after Carolyn Jones. The eulogy at his funeral was delivered by John Aston. So what does all of it tell us? The child star whose family stole his fortune. The butler buried in a garden. The Wednesday who danced for the world one last time. They weren't a family, they were a cast, but they held each other anyway. And one name kept showing up, at every bedside, at every funeral. The Addams family was a joke about death. The real family was a lesson about loyalty. Which brings us to the last Addams standing.
And I'm gonna light the way for everybody.
John Aston is Gomez Addams. John Aston was born on March 30th, 1930 in Baltimore, Maryland. He came up through New York theater and a bit part in West Side Story, then comedies with Cary Grant and Doris Day. In 1964, he auditioned for the Addams Family, for Lurch. He couldn't picture himself as the butler. Neither could the producers. They saw something else, a man who could be manic and warm in the same breath. They handed him Gomez. What he and Carolyn Jones built changed TV. A husband madly, openly in love with his wife. Cigars, sword fights, kisses up the arm. His sponsor kept him supplied with cigars, and because he stubbed lit ones out in his breast pocket, wardrobe lined that pocket with asbestos. That's commitment. The show died after 2 seasons. Astin never stopped. He played the Riddler on Batman. He directed a short film, Prelude, that earned him an Academy Award nomination. He stole scenes on Night Court in the 80s, and he kept coming back to Gomez, the cartoon, the reunion, even an Emmy nomination for voicing him. His family story might be his finest role. He married Patty Duke and raised her son, Sean. Sean grew up to star in Rudy and The Lord of the Rings. Years later, Sean learned his biological father was another man entirely. His answer never changed. John Astin was his dad in every way that mattered. Around 2001, Astin went home to Baltimore. He spent roughly 2 decades teaching acting at Johns Hopkins. He toured a one-man stage show as Edgar Allan Poe, Gomez Addams playing the original master of the macabre. And through it all, he kept one more duty. He sat at Ted Cassidy's bedside the night before he died. He stayed. He gave the eulogy at Jackie Coogan's funeral. He buried his TV wife. He buried both of his TV children. The man who played the father became the father, the last one standing, the one who stayed. Today, in 2026, John Astin is 96 years old, retired, living quietly in Baltimore, the last member of the Addams family. The show joked about death every single week. Death took the joke seriously. It took the children. It took the mother. It took the butler. It took the uncle. It spared exactly one man, the father.
Oh, I haven't seen them yet. They have some interesting things, though.
So is there an Addams family curse? No, there's no curse. There's surgery, cancer, a heart attack, a stroke, ordinary tragedies, ordinary time, scattered across 62 years. And there's one glorious exception, in Baltimore, the one who remembers them all. Here's what actually lasts. In 2022, A New Wednesday danced on Netflix. The whole world copied her. Everyone knew the moves. Inside that dance, hidden, on purpose, were the steps a 6-year-old girl invented in 1964. The dance that came back. The girl who lived just long enough to see it. The family that celebrated death turned out to be very hard to kill, but not impossible. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Which one broke your heart? Tell me in the comments. This family wouldn't want you to be quiet about it. And if you want another town full of 1964 secrets, watch our Andy Griffith showcast Then and Now next. That sheriff was buried before America even knew he was gone. Subscribe if you want more stories like this one. Every classic has a graveyard. We just haven't shown you the headstones yet. Snap twice for the family.